This is Luke Williams here with File for AudioFiles. This is going to be my interview with Dustin Showers. Dustin, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
I'll just get right ahead and get started. I think your sound is reminiscent of the 90s, like the mellower sound of Pearl Jam, stuff like Daughter and Elderly Woman. I've seen your covers of Alice in Chains, Nutshell, and Tonics, if you could only see on YouTube. And when I played some of your music for my dad, he said you have a voice like Hootie. All that being said, where are you from, and when did music first come on your radar?
Well, the Hootie thing, that actually, I didn't read that, but that's funny. I'm from Jersey, South Jersey originally, Cape May area, and music has always been a part of my life. My uncle was very musical. I was in the band in school and always kind of doing side projects with friends and everything. I joined the Navy when I got out of high school, and I didn't really get to do too much music, but I ended up in Seattle, and the scene out there took off and really got me into it. So yeah, the Seattle rock scene.
So my comparison.
Yeah, your comparison is really funny. And of course, the Hootie thing, my least favorite song in the world is Wagon Wheel. So I love Hootie. I don't like Darius Rucker as much, but it's, music. I think I don't like it because it's so catchy and it's so good. Yeah. And it's overplayed and I'm just sick of hearing it. But don't tell my friends. Don't let my friends hear that I said it's possibly okay.
If Darius is not one, who are some of your influences?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, honestly, you nailed it with Eddie Vedder, Lane Staley, those guys, I mean, they're just legendary.
You're speaking my language.
They took the 90s rock and they created not just music, but they created a whole environment of people, a whole genre of music from what they did, the Soundgarden all the way to Audio Slave, that whole thing is amazing. So I've got a lot of influence in that. In my early career was very, very heavily influenced in that. I'm actually a drummer from the get-go. So I followed their drumming patterns.
So you started as a drummer?
I started as a drummer, yeah. And then basically the story goes, I was sick of dealing with guitar players and their egos, so I became a guitar player, so I didn't have to deal with them. And then I started realizing that singers had a lot of ego, so I became a singer so that I didn't have to deal with them. But now, as it is today, I can't stand drummers, so I don't know what to do. Those guys are always showing up late and everything, so now I got to become a drummer again. I'm not really sure what I have to do, but I've been fortunate enough to have some pretty talented musicians around me. So
cool. Moving on to your 2017 single, Always on Top. It's a heavy back and forth between piano and drums with tons of space and nothing getting in the way. I think the hi-hat is what carries that song. Can you talk about everything that went into that song? Because looking at it through the context of your later work, it's quite a departure.
I would absolutely agree with you. The Always on Top came about at kind of a turning point in my life. I was my first wife and I were separated, and I was not feeling great about my career. And Always on Top came about just to be saying, internally, like, you have to get through this, whatever it is, whatever the tough thing is. You just have to come out on top, and that's where that came from. And I think the heaviness in it, like you said, is certainly some aggression built up in it, and let it out as much as I could without writing a full on metal song. But so the hi-hat is a funny thing that you say it's driving, because that's always driven me crazy. Yeah. It's too prominent in the mix, and I wanted to turn it down, but I couldn't go back to it. So
I love the lyric "drowning inside your own dreams." Can you speak to what that means to you?
Yeah, it's another one of them. Get out of your head. You know, you're overthinking everything, and it's not going to be a difficult task to make it through this. You just have to stop thinking about it and just do it. So, you know, when you're drowning inside your own dreams, you're just like constantly rethinking everything and having nightmares about all the stupid mistakes you could have done, or you know, all the right things you should have done. So it's just, yeah, it's definitely like the core of that song.
Who harmonizes with you on the chorus on that song?
So that song was 100% me. Drum, bass, guitar, everything.
It was.
All the vocals, everything was me.
I thought I heard another voice in the chorus.
Well, there's definitely my voice, but I've like put myself up. I have a range. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, harmonize.
Yeah. Awesome. Was there anything specific that happened between the Always on Top and Chapter 2 that inspired the genre change?
100%. Chapter 2 was the chapter that my life was leading into, and I met my now wife, and we had been together a couple years. Not quite married at that point, I don't think, when Chapter 2 came out, but that album was more centered on my new life and starting over and getting past always being on top, you know. Now it's like life is starting to set back in and everything, you know.
Was the difference in sound what inspired choosing Chapter 2 as a title?
So the sound of the album and the songs that were on the album, all except I believe one, were written after having met my wife, my now wife. So the sound was certainly inspired by just by her. She's a huge inspiration for me. So the name, as it is, it's the second chapter of my life, as I like to say it.
What was the one song?
It was Where You Going? Or what is that what it's called?
Where Did We Go?
There you go. Thank you. You know my songs better than I do.
On your 2020 album, Chapter 2, the second song, Follow, is the first time we hear the caliber voice you have with those vocal stretches. That escalation into the chorus is so seamless. Do you think there's a correlation between heartfelt lyrics and how you sing them?
Yeah. I definitely have more. I mean, anything you do that you're inspired by, you do it better. You know, if you're going to work, you're maybe not putting in 100%, but if you're doing your favorite activity, you're doing 110%. So when you feel what you sing it better. You sing it louder and prouder. So.
Well, do you want to go ahead and start that song?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
You walk with me, walk with you, hand in hand and 2 by 2. You believe in me, I will believe in you when we're together. If I have faith in you, you have faith in me. If I depend on you, we'll believe anywhere we go. And I I will follow you. I will follow you.
Awesome. I can't believe that you have a voice like that and you didn't start out as a singer. That's amazing. That's really amazing.
Thank you.
I noticed that a lot of the material on Chapter 2 focuses on different stages of a relationship. I wrote down a couple of notable lyrics for My Truth and Time Will Tell. In My Truth, you sing, "My heart feels like it's burning, I know you're the flame," and Time Will Tell begins, "We're on the same team, but sometimes I'm on the fence." Being that the album is called Chapter 2, did you mean for the songs to follow a narrative?
It was a happy accident. The songs all came together during COVID, actually. So I had a lot of extra time to spend with my wife, or my then girlfriend, fiance, now wife, and all of those songs kind of wrote themselves. And there was only a small point in the process that I decided what order they would go into. And what made the cut, more or less. So, when you talk about the lyrics, my heart feels like it's burning, and I know you're the flame. I mean, that's without a doubt like gasoline on the fire. When you find the right person, it just burns all night. So the line you said, "We're on the same team, but sometimes I'm on defense," is actually what it says.
Oh, defense.
Yeah. So we're on, any kind of relationship you've got, somebody's on offense and somebody's on the defense.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's funny. I mean, it takes on a totally different meaning if you say we're on the same team, but sometimes I'm on the fence.
The meaning of the question, you just...
Yeah, that's funny.
Did the order of the track list matter? For instance, was "Having Found My Way" after "It Is What It Is" a conscious decision to offset the negative connotation?
Absolutely was. Yeah. "It Is What It Is" still a song that we re-released on my new album, because it was one of the ones that I felt had enough weight on its own to be re-released. The order of those definitely played a part in my mind when I put it together. Yeah.
Awesome. Did you have another guitarist with you during the recording of Chapter 2? Because I didn't start noticing that may have been the case until the percussive nature of "That Girl" and the circling riff of "Over and Over."
Yeah, so it was just me. Chapter 2 was just me. That was my wife plucked me from a band in New Jersey and said, you should be doing this on your own. At that point, I had just been a singer. I hadn't played any instruments at all. And she said, you need to just do this. You need to stop being the singer of this band or that band and start being Dustin Showers. So she encouraged me to become Dustin Showers. And so in her own right, she deserved the whole album to be dedicated to her. So
was it the same music you were playing in those bands?
No, so those bands, we did some REM. We did. I forced them to do some Alice in Chains because that's where my voice led us. But we did some other songs that I would not note.
This time, this song is the outlier on Chapter 2 because instead of singing to someone, it's a commentary to yourself. right before yet another seamless transition to the chorus is the line, "Don't close your mind, open your eyes, and the chains are still unbroken. You're a prisoner in your own in your own life." What does that song mean to you, and that lyric in particular?
You know, I tend to close my eyes when I play and sing, whether it's taking me somewhere or I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to play. It's really one of those, you have to open your eyes and see the world for what it is, and be open-minded that, you're not being held down by anybody but yourself. So the chains are still unbroken. You can dig yourself into a hole and not get out of it. And so you just have to remember, like, the only person holding you back from doing what you want to do is yourself.
Getting into 2022's Mid-South sessions, if I remember correctly, the one and only time I ever watched the music on WBOC's Delmarva Live was when you and your band were performing. Your bass player was playing an electric stand-up during that performance. Is that featured on Mid-South?
So he had just gotten that. He had just gotten that bass not long before that performance on Delmarva Life, and we did. Actually, he got it right before we went into the studio, and we did use it on Little More Time. And there's a what you would guess, I tried to make it sound like a bomb falling or almost a whale dory noise in Anthem. So it did get used on the album. Yeah.
There's 3 crossover tracks from Chapter 2 on Mid-South. Around the World, It Is What It Is, and Over and Over. The biggest difference with all of these is obviously the additions. And Around the World, your guitarist picked through the strings with a watery tone, which was echoed on the piano when he was soloing. Those acoustic guitar pauses and the faster vocal cadence in It Is What It Is turn the track from mid-tempo to upbeat. And the circling guitar riff I was alluding to before in Over and Over turned into the song's running bass line on the Mid-South version, while a guitar solo ensued after each chorus. Why did you choose these 3 songs to appear on both?
It Is What It Is, like I said, definitely had a place because, well, frankly, it is what it is. It's the most relevant song that I had at that time because everything was just happening and you have no control over it. So that one had to make it. Over and Over, I put it into the hands of my band to actually pick 2 songs off of the first album and say which ones could you consider doing. And so it was Over and Over. And Around the World, well, that's a different story, but Around the World, it just had such a cool vibe that was different from the rest of our album that we wanted to kind of showcase our ability to be different.
What was the different story? Do you mind?
Around the World was, she'll hate me because she doesn't like the story, but it's not actually about my wife. It's actually about my guitar. So, but it was written in a way that can be, obviously interpreted that it's about her. So it's actually about the guitar being there, and I didn't know what I wanted to do until I saw my guitar and until it came into my life.
So when was that? You said you started on drums first?
Yeah, man, I'm trying to think. I mean, I wrote the song Around the World when I was with her, but it took on its own meaning towards my guitar more than her. I just didn't tell her that immediately until after the song was released. So, yeah.
Did you envision upgraded versions of these songs whenever you released Chapter 2? Or did they come to be, I think you already answered this, or did they come to be organic when you put the band together?
Yeah, those songs, Around the World was the only one that I had messed around with my full production idea. And it took on its own flavor for sure when the guys got a hold of it. But that's the only one that I had imagined being anything more than just an acoustic song.
Shared Spaces stands out to me as an achievement in sound and recording. It seems like an instrument-forward song. The kick drum comes through really crisp, and the electric guitar doesn't drown out the acoustic. Can you talk about how you guys recorded Shared Spaces and Mid-South as a whole?
Shared Spaces, well, honestly, the whole album, a little more time, I handed the song to the guys 2 days before we went to the studio. And I had a full production of that I said, this is how I want it to sound, and that was that. Everything else, we pretty much went in and ran through it once or twice, and that was the sound that we came out with. So the solos were written on the spot. Any kind of harmonies that we did, they were written on the spot. We just kind of had a guideline and went into the studio with it. Shared Spaces, you know, we are heavily influenced on that one by Pearl Jam. That's when I hear that song, I think of Pearl Jam playing it. So
yeah. And there's a long vocal stretch in that one too.
Yeah, that one was hard. That's 1 or 2 takes, and then we're moving on that one.
You spent the entirety of the song Anthem linking prideful American labels. For example, you start the song by saying, "My neck is red, my trash is white, my collar's blue." But to me, the lyric that had the most substance was, if you come at me, I'll cut you down like an old cherry tree." Do you think the notion of standing up for what you believe in still exists in America? And is it something you think our founding fathers would be proud of?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you come at me, I'll cut you down like an old cherry tree is probably one of my favorite lines. When we do that song live, that's the one that gets everybody to go, you know, and they turn their head and what did he say? And, you know, for me, that's one of my favorite lyrics. And our forefathers would definitely want you to express your feelings and you know, and be who you are, no matter what that is. And the point of accepting everybody for what they believe they're, you know, you could be proud of whatever you want. Just be proud of it and stick to it. People that back down from what they believe in, you know, that's un-American.
Your latest 2 releases have been singles. In 2023, you released Wings, and last year, Blank Check came out. Before I delve into these tracks, I wanted to ask you if you had any plans in the works for more music.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably have a whole album written of ideas that are sitting. We're playing two of them right now that we are going to be on the next album, and one we just wrote. Well, I just wrote a month ago. So I would say they're probably not as. No, there's one or two that's pretty American related, but the rest are not as much.
I've seen the slogan "American Made" on your music. Is that the name of a future project, or is it the self-proclaimed label for your style of music?
Yeah, man. I mean, what would you call us? What kind of music would you say we are?
I would say alternative, but that's a huge.
Yeah.
That's a huge.
That's a wide variety. Yeah. You know, oh man, we get asked this all the time, and it's funny because everybody says we're a country band because we do play a lot of country covers. And to be honest, that's just because we're in Sussex County, but we are so inspired by so many different things, and the most obscure generalization of our music was Americana. So when he said that, we're not Americana in any way.
I don't think I would agree with that.
You think we're Americana? Or
No, I don't think I would.
No, not at all. So when he said it though, I said, all right, well, we're American, that's for sure. So it was American made, and you know what, dude, that's a great album name. But I didn't even really think of. So maybe that might be the next album. I don't know.
I'm glad I can help you out.
Yeah.
Going out of order, 2024's Blank Check is an homage to first responders in the military. Can you talk about the concept of a blank check and how it relates to the song? Because I got the impression that the song meant a little more than the value of a blank check based off the line, "Raise your hand and intentional on deck." Both being patriotic songs, was it purposeful that Anthem and Blank Check have similar marching snare drum cadences?
The Blank Check and Anthem marching snare, I guess I didn't realize that it did that completely, but yeah, sure it does.
It's not as it's not
as
the same.
Yeah,
it's not
different.
the same cadence.
Right.
But I was thinking.
Yeah. So Blank Check. For me, and so you know, it's raise your hand, attention on deck. So in the military, attention on deck is kind of like a sign of respect to those senior guys walking into the room. You would call attention on deck, everybody stands up at attention, and then they say carry on or whatever it may be, and that's your way of giving respect to whoever the senior enlisted or officer is at that point. So you know, Blank Check is written during a time when I think we were still at war. Technically, I think we were still declared war, and the world was, as I saw it from my perspective, more focused on the problems happening here. You know, gas prices, grocery prices. Meanwhile, there's guys overseas dying, guys and girls dying for our right to be so, you know, blissfully ignorant to the fact of, you know, first world problems. My gas is too high, but what about the guys that, you know, died trying to make your freedom? So for me, it was America's got your back. You know, it was a message written to the guys that are no longer here, the guys and the girls that are no longer here with us because they sacrificed their life. They made the ultimate sacrifice, and they signed that blank check when they enlisted in that military, or, you know, got commissioned as an officer. However, they decided that they were going to go off and fight their freedoms, and they didn't know if they would come home, but they did it, and they did it selfishly. selflessly, right? Yeah. They did it with, not selfishly. Yeah, they did it knowing that, their job meant more than their life.
That's good. That's a really good answer. You resorted back to a rock feel with the song Wings, a heartfelt response to loss. Can you talk about why it's important for you to maintain an evolving sound?
Yeah. So Wings is, for me, I lost my mother when I was 21. And it was an unexplainable loss. And so the sound of it had no correlation to the words. The music was just what I felt. So the words came first in that instance, and the music was how I was feeling after I wrote them. And then the melodies came from that. So the words, the message was written first, and then the music was how I felt. So the evolving sound, it could have been a love song had I written it on a different day, but I wrote it on the 15th anniversary of my mom's death. So, as far as the evolving sound, I mean, nobody wants to sound like the same every song, Otherwise, I think you get into like Nickelback territory, right? So yeah, you got. I don't know what we are. I don't know how to classify it. I mean, Americana was certainly not it. I could get down with alternative. I have I have a complete unreleased album of songs that I recorded myself, all of my own instruments. Always on Top was actually going to be part of that, and I was going to release it as an album, but never did. So I've got eight completed songs that are heavier, much heavier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta get back together with you.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know if I'm going to release them under Dustin Showers, but I've got other bands that I was in, and I had written material and recorded that I can send you later, and they're stuff that is much heavier.
Awesome. Wings. The whole song made me reflect on my own experience with grief. So I wanted to thank you for that, and thank you for doing this today. I'd be honored if you wouldn't mind playing us out with it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Never saw the sky look so blue as it did on the day that you went away. Never felt myself slip away to a place so dark and gray. Tried to be just a little more stern, not sure exactly what the hell I became. Part of me is what I was before, now I know I gotta live up to your memory. Your memory. Now you got your wings, and you gotta fly away. And now that you're home, I know you got no pain. I know you got to heaven and you walk right up to St. Peter's pearly gates. All I ask is that you wait for me to see you again someday. It's been so long since I hear a voice say my name. saw your face. I still remember what I thought when it told me you had gone away and that you couldn't stay. And now and then I regret what I said and all the things I didn't say. I know you're watching me from up above, and I know you're with me every day, every step I take, every step I take. Now you got your wings, you gotta fly away. Now that you're home, I know you got no pain. I know you got to heaven and you walked right up to St. Peter's pearly gates. Oh, all I ask is that you wait for me. I'll see you again someday. Now you got your wings and you gotta fly away. Now that you're home, I know you got no pain. I know you got to heaven and you walked right up to St. Peter's pearly gates. All I ask is that you wait for me. See you again someday.
Awesome. Thank you again, Dustin.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.